Stress is a regular part of modern life. When the symptoms are short-lived, they're usually harmless. But if stress is persistent, it can become chronic, and it can then contribute to the development of physical and mental health problems. Prevention is better than cure, so don't wait until you're stressed before attempting to do something about it. If you're slow to recognize or acknowledge the signs in yourself, then stress can build up. The longer you ignore the symptoms, the harder it is to counteract the effects. So it's always best to tackle stress as early in the cycle as possible. The sooner you act if you spot symptoms in yourself, the more effective you'll be. When you practice basic stress management, you recognize that life can be stressful. You're from early warning signs, and these vary from person to person. You know what to do to reduce the impact of stress and to protect yourself from its harmful effects. In this track, there are some proven, common-sense steps you can take to build your resilience to stress. These lifestyle tips will benefit you by lowering your threshold stress levels and helping you to generally feel calm and more prepared, training your mind and body in stress management techniques to interrupt the cycle when stress begins to build up, and to increase your resilience to stress by suggesting techniques to include as part of a health and well-being regime. Once you are familiar with the signs of stress in yourself, it's easier to monitor your stress levels and take steps to protect yourself against stress build-up. As people become more stressed, they often overlook the symptoms or write them off with excuses like, "Oh, I'm super busy at the moment," or "It's just my nervous energy," or "I've got a lot on, I'm a bit tired, but I'm okay." It's easy to explain away symptoms like this, but don't ignore the signs. Recognize that something needs to change and do something about it. If you can, address the source of the stress. This might mean a change of work routine, settling a disagreement, or sorting out your finances, for example. If you're unable to do this and think you can't change your circumstances, you're probably wrong. This is because the stressed mind doesn't see things very clearly. One of the effects of stress is that while it sharpens your focus on the problem, it's not very good at problem solving. It tends to diminish our confidence in our abilities and to limit our creative thinking. Seek advice if you have to, but don't ignore or make excuses to justify the symptoms. If the stressor is temporary, a recent change at work, for example, and you think the situation will get better in the short term, then there are some ideas to de-stress and carry you through the temporary stressful period. On the other hand, if you've reached a point of overwhelm and your situation seems more urgent, the symptoms can become more severe and eventually harder to shift. Persistent or chronic stress can have serious consequences for our health. It lowers our immune response and makes us more vulnerable to physical and mental illness. It can also aggravate any pre-existing conditions like eczema, asthma, anxiety, or depression, for example. Seek medical help if any of these symptoms persist or if you think they may be due to illness. The symptoms of stress are many and varied. While short-lived feelings of stress don't signal an immediate threat, when stress becomes chronic, it can severely impact your performance and your physical and psychological health. If you are suffering from the effects of long-term stress, then it's time for immediate action. Managing stress well relies on basic lifestyle guidelines backed up with some specific steps to take if you notice the symptoms of stress in yourself. This track will help you become more stress-aware, and it will show you how to protect yourself and build your resilience.